Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, we're going to be talking about some juicy NFL rumors. And Deebo Samuel, the star receiver for the 49ers, could he be coming to the Raiders? I'll tell you about this story and, well, why I love the internet. Potential draft targets. Two players that the Raiders have top 30 visits with. Darren Waller, could he potentially be getting an extension because you just saw the Buffalo Bills give Stephon Diggs an extension? And if I was Darren Waller's agent, I'd be like, hey, you see that over there? And then I'm also going to do this. We're going to play a little bit of a fun game here. I've been told that my English is not very good. I mean, that's the just honest truth. So I'm going to start doing something new. Word of the day. The word of the day is meddlesome. And if you don't know what it means, go ahead, look it up because I don't want to have to explain it. Hopefully, by me doing this word of the day, you think that I am being a little bit more meddlesome. But the game is this. You got to count how many times I say meddlesome. Already up to 3. All right, the first story coming up here on today's show is going to be around Deebo Samuel of Las Vegas. Mitch, what the heck are we talking about here? Well, Samuel has unfollowed the 49ers on Instagram, and I love the world that we live in where, you know, you got these people, they check out where the players are, and they're like, oh, no, he doesn't follow them on social media anymore. It's not good. This is bad news. And as you can see, if you search up on Deebo's IG, you can see 49ers, and it's not there. What's interesting, though, he does follow a few Raiders players, and it's not just one. Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Chandler Jones, Josh Jacobs, Brian Edwards. Like, that's multiple Raiders people. So here's my question out there. You don't follow the 49ers, but you follow over 6 players on the Raiders. It amazes me how many times I've already been asked this question. So I want every single person on today's show to go down in the comments section right now and answer this. Y for yes or type N for no. Deebo Samuel to the Raiders, is it going to happen? Yes or no? I wish I could come up here and give it a different answer. The rumor origin is the internet because I couldn't actually find somebody to write an article around it, but I did see it trending on social media, and that's my job here, right? Talk about the breaking news, which we always do. We talk about news also that pertains to the other NFL teams, but rumors also, and this is a rumor that is trending. It's 0 no Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. It's just not going to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. If it did happen, I would be pretty intrigued by it because Deebo is one of the best players in the National Football League. He had 56 carries last season, 365 yards, 8 touchdowns, became the first wide receiver in the history of the National Football League to have 8 rushing touchdowns. But he's also a hell of a ball catcher as well. 77 grabs, 1,405 yards, 18.2 yards per catch, 6 touchdowns. And, you know, if I was a receiver and my coach said, hey, man, you know, go over the middle of the field, personally, I think Deebo showed that he was tough. Meddlesome rusher from top to bottom, no doubt about it. And here's the issue, though. You already have Devontae Adams at $28 million. Deebo wants a new contract. That's why he's throwing this little bit of a pity party. It's why he's throwing a little bit of a hissy fit here. And not that I don't want the Raiders to add a player like Deebo because he's spectacular, but if you have, let's say, $25 million to go with because I think he makes more than Stephon Diggs, I'd rather you invest that money into the defense or in the offensive line. Not that wide receiver and Deebo's not great, but it's not really the biggest team need right now. So to make sure that you guys do not miss out, subscribe to the Raiders Report, hit that notification bell, and if you can't find it, it's underneath every single video. There's a big old red button. It says subscribe, and then right next to it is literally a bell. You click that. That way you never miss a video. I've been really trying to just create more content in the offseason. It doesn't matter what it is. I want you to subscribe to the Raiders Report, the #1 most watched Raiders channel on YouTube. I've also been told we're pretty meddlesome. All right, let's talk about some draft targets here. And one of the players I'm going to bring up is Kalon Barnes. And this is a name that I'm sure that you've heard about because of his 4.23 second 40-yard dash, which is the second fastest in NFL Combine history, and the Raiders are set to host him on a top 30 visit. This might surprise you, but you only get 30 top 30 visits. I personally do not think that he is a very good cornerback from top to bottom, and I just think he's going to be a special teams player, right? And if you're going to go ahead and take Kalon Barnes, there might be some teams out there that want to draft him a little bit higher. I would take him in the 7th. I wouldn't even want to take him in the 5th round. The speed is great, but his technicality and his ability to be a, we'll say, meddlesome style of player on the defense, it's not that great. 10 tackles as a freshman, but even this past season, 23 tackles, 5 PBUs, and 1 interception. His skill set is definitely lacking in terms of corner, but if you can run 4.23, can you potentially be a gunner? Can you potentially be somebody that Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, like, you know what? We can use that guy on special teams. So I don't know about y'all. I am all about making content here, and that's my job. It's how I put food on my table. It's how I put a roof over my head. Also, I try to figure out ways of how can I reach more people or give people the type of content that we want. Well, on Rumble, you get uncut, raw type of deals over there. Rumble.com/Raiders Report. We also go live. We provide even more videos on Rumble. And one of my favorite features about this, which I just figured out, if you're watching the Raiders Report on YouTube, right, and you minimize the screen, the video stops playing. Sometimes I like to do things and I watch stuff on YouTube. With Rumble, if you're watching the Raiders Report there, you can minimize the screen and it'll play like a podcast in the background. That way you can keep on doing your thing and there's no interruptions. I love that about Rumble, and that reason alone, you should go ahead and give us a follow, rumble.com/Raiders Report. Another player that the Raiders are going to be bringing in on a top 30 visit is Cortez Davis, the cornerback out of Hawaii. He led college football last season. I actually believe it was all D1 and FCS schools with 18 pass breakups. I see him being a 7th-round candidate, a UDFA style of dude as well. Now, sure, 18 pass breakups is impressive, but I don't even remember what conference that the Rainbow Warriors play in. All I know is this. A lot of passing happens in that conference, and when there's high-scoring games, it leads to more passing. It also leads to more pass breakups. He did have 48 tackles last season, 18 PBUs, 1 interception. Last season dealt with a few injuries, but here's my question. Who's the better cornerback prospect? And both of these guys I would select in the 7th round. If you're looking for somebody who can maybe actually materialize and be a corner, it's Cortez Davis. If you're looking for somebody who can be more of a special teams player, it's Kalon Barnes. Yes, I get that both of these players are corners, but in the 7th round, I am okay going on betting on somebody who has that elite speed like Barnes has and betting on that he's going to be a good special teams player. So I'll go ahead and I'll type KB, but I also don't blame y'all for typing CD as well. So, guys, I'm always trying to keep you up to date on news, rumors going on around the Raiders. And here at Chat Sports, we have different studios, right? Whole bunch of different studios. And, yes, I do get quite a bit of studio time, but at the end of the day, there's only so much time in a day. So if I miss Raiders news that happens later on because I can't get that studio time, I'll keep you up to date on Instagram. I'll keep you up to date on Twitter as well with everything going on, because there is a lot of stuff that happens in the offseason that can easily get swept underneath the rug. And whether you want to be, I don't know, bold by going ahead and give me a follow on Twitter, you can go ahead and do so at Meddlesome Renz 365. The next thing coming up here is going to be around Darren Waller. And I know that I've talked about Waller and a potential contract extension for quite some time. However, I don't know if, and I don't even know when it's going to happen. But I did see out there on social media of a report that said Diggs' new contract has to catch the attention of Darren Waller and of his agent. And I 100% agree. Diggs got a 4-year, $96 million contract extension with $70 million guaranteed. Now, I get it. There's going to be some people out there like, wait a minute. Stephon Diggs is a receiver. Darren Waller is a tight end. You are even more correct. What's more important is this. Diggs had 2 years left on his deal. Darren Waller has 2 years left on his deal. And if you're trying to show a player that you're committed to him and you believe that he is elite at his position, a lot of times teams can make it work. On top of that, the Buffalo Bills before free agency happened were negative in cap space. They went out and got Von Miller. They went out and made all these big-time splashy moves, which proves if you want to be able to keep a player, you can make money move and you can go ahead and do so. So if I was Darren Waller and I was Darren Waller's agent, I would say, hey, you see that? I want that type of money. And if Waller ends up getting a new deal, I think he's going to make more than George Kittle, and he's going to be the highest paid tight end in the National Football League. Now, sure, maybe Waller decides to take a few cheaper deals and we'll just say, I don't know, takes a little bit less money. That way he can have maybe more guarantees. That's obviously an option, because I remember just a few years ago, and it was funny, I remember I made the video, Raiders need to extend Darren Waller. Literally like 2 days later, Waller signed that 3-year, $27 million extension in 2019. But if I told you right now he makes $7 million, and on average that's like the 12th or 13th best tight end in football, a lot of y'all would sit here and say, yes, Waller deserves more money. And he does. There's no doubt about it. However, I know there's a lot of people out there like, well, the Raiders bought in to Waller, who he would also admit didn't have a lot going for him at a certain time of his life and his career. He absolutely turned it around. He's a phenomenal player. Love what he brings on and off the field. He's spirited. He's mettlesome. He gives you the energy that you're looking for in the locker room and every single week that he's out there playing. So here's my question. Should Vegas give Waller a pay raise? Okay? Give him a pay raise. And I think if you do it, you're going to see a deal very similar to what Stephon Diggs got, that Waller has 2 years left on his deal. You go ahead and give him a 3, maybe a 4-year contract extension, make him the highest paid tight end in the league. What do you think? Type R for raise, or you go ahead and type D for don't. I'm typing my R for raise and saying, yes, not only is he one of the best tight ends in the National Football League, Josh McDaniels wants to run a 2 tight end set. You also went ahead and you went out and traded for Devontae Adams. There is nothing that has happened this offseason that has indicated to me whatsoever that the Raiders aren't trying to win now. If you can give me a legitimate argument that trading away Darren Waller makes you a better football team, I'll say, okay, you win. The issue is that world doesn't exist. There is not a world out there where trading away Darren Waller makes you a better football team. And I get it. Last season, he struggled a little bit. 665 yards, 2 touchdowns. He still averaged over 60 receiving yards per game. He still would have been on pace for over 1,000 receiving yards. We know he's a good player. He battled some injuries from top to bottom. And if you're telling me right now that he's going to put up maybe, let's say, 80 catches this year, over 1,000 yards, and if he can be around 7 or 8 touchdowns, that's a lot of value for a tight end who might even be your third option in your offense depending on how many targets Renfro gets or how many targets Devontae Adams gets. If Waller wants a raise, Raiders, don't screw it up. Go ahead and pay that man, because Darren Waller deserves the pay raise. Meddlesome.